The versatile CJ Reavis joins us fresh off signing his contract with the Ottawa Redblacks. CJ, you were a weapon on defense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders for a number of years at multiple different positions, but I want to focus on the 2025 season. You're playing at an all-star level at strong side linebacker. Then you make the switch to safety in a move that was beneficial for the team for a number of reasons. What was it like for you to go through that switch in the middle of a season?
Um, Honestly, man, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. I don't know if people know this, but I actually started playing free safety at first in football, regardless. I think it kind of was like more natural to me than the people thought it would be. But I feel like we just needed coach came to me and said we needed a change. We got Nelly got hurt and Jackson got hurt. Unfortunately, two of my guys got hurt, and we needed to put a guy at free. Who knew the defense, who could talk to guys lined up. And I knew, I could do that, So I selfishly, I left my spot at Sam where all the plays at, and I went back to free safety where it's a little more boring, but I feel like I had more control of the game at free safety, to be honest with you. So I feel like that helped me a lot grow as a leader, as a communicator, and as just a player in general.
There were people around the league, CJ, preparing for you when you moved back to safety, saying, okay, Sask has their best defensive player now at free safety. So we
hmm
have to alter the way that we attack, or try to attack, I should say, the Saskatchewan defense. What was it like for you, from your perspective, preparing for offenses, not at Sam linebacker, but at
Right.
safety?
Honestly, it was more fun for me because I feel like at Sam, I can only really control the strong side of the field at times, especially when you get like rock concepts, stuff like that with like 23 formation or go empty checks. I can only do so much at Sam. But at free, I was able to get us in the right formations when they go empty. Or if I see a concept that I've been seeing on film all week, in 23 formation or 32 formation or a tight wing or a tight back, I'll know what's coming. So I could inform my guys or even just get in position to make those plays. I feel like that showed in the Grey Cup. A lot of us we really knew what was coming, honestly, to be honest with you. Like everybody was locked in. All I had to do was say one thing, and everybody knew what time it was. So I feel like that just helped us as a team. Because I could see more of the field, and I feel like it was way easier to play back there. Because I feel like I could just see more. It feels super big in Canada, so I feel like being a free game more vision of the game.
You make the move to safety, and as you alluded to, it helps the Saskatchewan Roughriders win the 112th Grey Cup, just the fifth in franchise history. But at the same time, I would imagine behind the scenes, you're helping Antoine Brooks Jr. come along at the strong side linebacker position. So,
hmm
what was that like for you to move to safety, help him along, and then that ultimately, in a team move for you, going back to safety,
Yeah.
leads to the Rough Riders choosing to go younger, I guess let's call it, at the
Right.
same position.
Honestly, man, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. To be honest with you, like I said, Twan, my guy, Brooks is my guy, my little brother, man. But he's a baller, and I know a baller when I see a baller. So like that's my everyday in camp, bro. Since the first day he got to camp, he's making plays, one hand interceptions, diving interceptions. You know what I'm saying? He does it all. So I feel like Twan is the one of the best athletes I've ever been around. So I feel like he didn't need much coaching from me. He just needed just a little stuff, like little details. Just being a pro, more of a pro, but just his ability is top notch. So when they asked me to move, I knew we're gonna lose the playmaking ability really that much because he knew how to make plays. He just needed to be coached up a little bit. So I wasn't too worried about that. But honestly, man, he was just such a sponge. He came to me, he asked questions. Whenever he didn't understand something, he came to me and asked, "Hey, how did you play this? Or how did you see this? What would you do if you got this down block or whatever?" So I think he grew a lot this year as well. From either being a backup first team guy to actually now playing. We're counting on him to make plays. And you can see as you can see he made plays throughout the whole end of the season and playoff games. So I feel like it was just it was cool for me. Like I said, I was getting in my more leader bag. Helping him along and actually helping guys around me as well. So it felt good too. I felt like I was doing what I'm supposed to do.
You said, CJ, you saw the writing on the wall. How difficult is that for a player to process? And I'll add this, I talked to AJ Allen, and he
hmm
said that he had to get through some emotions in January prior to refocusing and understanding that he has a life changing decision in his career coming up to sign with another team. other than the one that he's been with for his entire CFL career. You were in a very similar situation. The Riders brought you to the Canadian Football League. You turned into a CFL All-Star with them. And then because you make a team move and go back to safety, a younger player, as you alluded to, and Antoine
Yeah.
Brooks Jr., takes that spot at Sam. So how did you process all of those emotions?
Um, I feel like, well, I'm big on my faith. I read the Bible every day, every morning. So I kind of just honed in on God. I prayed about it. I talked about it with the Lord, and I asked Him, like, whatever He does for me, I know it'll be in my greatest interest. So if it wasn't, my plans were not to go back to SAS because of Him and what was going on with the name of the team, I knew it would be the best move for me. So I wasn't really too upset about it. Obviously, it hurt. Like I miss my guys. I love my guys, my team, and my coaches. All the relations I built over the last 4 years at SAS. Being there, Jo and Kyle, like you said, they brought me to Canada, man. It changed my whole life. So for them, I'm forever indebted to Kyle and Jo for that. But it definitely hurt, seeing that you make a move for the team betterment, and then at the end, it kind of like gives you the short end of the stick. But I'm still blessed, I got a great team in Ottawa I'm playing for now, great coaches in Ottawa. Kind of the same system defensively, schematically as well, with a little tweaks. So like I'm in a good position. I feel like this is the best case scenario, for me to leave SAS and go to Ottawa. So I'm not too upset about it. I know God got all the plans for me He needs, and I'm a hooper anyway. So it's like I don't really care. Like now they got to see me. It's all good.
How did that get communicated behind the scenes, CJ? Did you just know that you wouldn't go back to Saskatchewan? Did
hmm
Jeremy O'Day or Corey Mace let you know? How did that happen?
Um, no, I didn't know. Actually, right after this season, I was told they were gonna start talking about deals, or whatever, with my agent, but it kind of went quiet for a while. And when I saw people getting signed and this and that, like I kind of knew, I kind of felt it on my own. I didn't have to hear anything, But no, I didn't really hear from anybody until the end. Kyle Carson finally gave me a call and let me know what it might end up being like. But he, let me know that he loves me, and that obviously I just outplayed myself. I'm just, it's not a bad thing. Actually, a good thing. Obviously, like you have established as a great player in the league, so now you earn a certain amount of money, And if the team's best interest is not to not do that, I understand business. I get it. He's younger, he's cheaper, and he can play ball. So I kind of took it with a grain of salt.
That sounds like a very professional approach from Kyle Carson. And when you say the end, he let you know, do you mean
Yeah.
prior to the communication window, or when was that?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit before the window. He gave me a call. Just let me know that I hadn't heard from anybody. He knew that, so he knew what kind of person I was. So I kind of who took that like to heart a little bit. But he kind of let me know, like, bro, like we all love you here. He was trying to get me back. They wanted me back, obviously, but it might not be for what I want to come back for. So he gave me the rail on that, and I just appreciated him, man.
That is great to at least hear from somebody with Saskatchewan to know what you're
For
getting
sure.
into. So then the window happens, it opens up. What teams did you talk to other than Ottawa? Because as I said earlier or alluded to, you're a highly regarded player in the league.
Yeah. It's crazy because this market, it was weird, man. Like everybody already kind of had their Sam already, to be honest, for the season. But I talked to BC and Toronto. Toronto wanted me to play a little bit of free safety, but I didn't really want to do that. So I was between BC, Ottawa, honestly, and I just chose Ottawa because of the comfortability with the staff. Our coaches inside, our coach with RD in Toronto, so it was kind of a family environment kind of there already.
What's it like, CJ, to go through that process when you have, like you said, three teams that you're talking to,
Right.
narrow it down to two, and then ultimately making a decision to go to a completely different city and a
Yeah.
brand new team?
It's weird. I'm not sure how it is in the NFL free agency, but I feel like in CFL free agency, it all happens in like one day. It's like everything happens in one day. You get a call with a bunch of teams, then you got to make a decision in one day. So I feel like it's kind of crazy. It's like a big turnaround. You go from kind of being having anxiety to then being excited to then it's like, oh man, I'm on a new team already. It's crazy. It happens in like 5 hours. I was in Mexico with my girlfriend, and literally I woke up free again and went to sleep all the Redblacks. So it was a blessing in disguise for sure. But it's weird. It's definitely a weird feeling. It happens really really fast.
What was it like to go through that process while you're in Mexico?
It was definitely a blessing. I'd rather do that than be in the snow somewhere or be somewhere cold. So it was definitely cool, man. It was cool. It was a dope experience to get.
And what really stood out to you about the Ottawa Redblacks? You said you had multiple other teams that showed interest. It
Mhm.
seems like you could have gone to BC. So why did you decide to sign on the dotted line with Ottawa?
Because I feel like just the respect factor was there. They value me there. Not that BC didn't value me there, but I feel like Ottawa, like I said, they have the same kind of scheme that I'm already kind of within. The coaches are very familiar. I like how they use their same linebackers. They've had All Star every year that Coach Fields has been the DC and D coordinator. So I mean, I don't see that changing this year either. So I feel like it just felt more comfortable for me. And like I said, I prayed about it, and my girlfriend actually had a dream maybe like in December that I would be playing for a red team. So it just happened to all work out.
That did line up. That's a
Yeah, it's
premonition.
crazy.
AJ Allen was telling me that after he decided to agree to terms with Ottawa and then eventually sign, that he was on the recruiting trail. Was he in your ear trying to get you to come to the nation's capital too?
Yeah, but it kind of happened at the same time almost. Like kind of like we kind of texted a little bit. And I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" He was like, "I'm about to go to Ottawa." I was like, "I think I'm about to go to Ottawa too." So I kind of already knew what was going on with him. So not really. He didn't have to recruit me too much, but I definitely after we both signed, we got down on the phone, man. We just chopped it up, man, and just it's crazy how we both came into the league at the same time, and sat together, and now we're coming and going this new journey together. So I think it's just it's all right in the wall, man.
There's some people joking a little bit about Ottawa should perhaps go to their old name, the Rough Riders, which was
Yeah,
Rough Riders two words because of the amount of guys that have come over there. Did you talk to Jake Mayer through the process and Habakkuk Baldonado as well?
not throughout the process, but as soon as we all signed, we all got together and chopped it up, man. And just let's bring the family over here, excuse me, and go win this cup, man. I feel like Ottawa's had the talent to do it every year. They've been close, as far as competing early in the season. They just fall off at the end of the year. But I feel like now with our coaches, RD at the helm, he knows how to win. Us coming to bring that championship mentality and the player they already have there on the roster. I feel like I don't see us not competing this year at all.
I feel like people know what you bring to the table, AJ Allen, Jake Mayer as well. But
Hmm.
Habakkuk Baldonado, I think, is under the radar a little bit in terms of fans knowing about him. But I think he's got a
Right.
lot of potential. Can you speak to his ability and the amount that he can rise in the CFL?
100%. How about just scratching the surface, man? He's so raw. You know, he started playing football late. I'm pretty sure, like in high school or college, something like that. But he's so raw, bro. He's strong. He's fast. He can bend, and he's athletic. I feel like and he's smart too. Hobba's a goofball, but he's super smart. He's one of the only people I know who can write up the coverages and DB, all that stuff like that. So he's super smart, and I think that's gonna help us a lot this season. And like I said, man, he's a dog. He saw us him help us a lot this season. So I'm excited to see him get his start to go and be his own man. And I don't want to build his own name.
How much did Ryan Dinwiddie's fiery personality, he's ultra competitive,
Hmm.
make you want to sign with Ottawa?
Honestly, that was a big part of it. I love coaches like that. I love coaches that hold guys accountable, especially offensive players. A lot of coaches don't like to do that, hold guys accountable, but he don't care. He get on the quarterbacks, the linemen, the DBs, everybody. I just love that because it means that he cares. Coaches, they don't do that, but he definitely is like an old school ball coach, and I love that about
The Riders played Ottawa twice last year. The first game of the season in Saskatchewan was a close one. The Redblacks
him.
almost came back and won. And then even later in the year in the nation's capital, it was a tighter game than I think a lot of people anticipated. Did that play any role into your decision?
Not really in any role, but I always knew Ottawa had something there. Even with them losing a lot of games the last 2 years, they were always a tough team to play against. Like you never win that game and thought like, oh, we're just gonna go ahead and just beat Ottawa. So I feel like they already have that dynamic on on their team. We just had to come in there, just add to it. Just put pieces together and just mold the soup right. They already got the gumbo and the potatoes. Coming to bring the meat and the sauce, man. That's all.
Sounds like a tasty recipe you got
Come
going.
on, man. Yes, sir.
CJ, I've seen you pictured with Khalil Pimpleton. Can you
Hmm.
detail your relationship with him?
Yeah, man. So I started out at Virginia Tech, and he was a recruit coming. I think he came like either a year behind me or 2 years behind me. But he was a recruit. He's a recruit behind me. So when I was a freshman at Tech, he was come up there all the time and hang out with us. Guys like me, Isaiah Ford. Greg Stroman, Cam Phillips, formerly for the Toronto Argonauts. So we were all just hanging out there. So I've known him since he was like in high school, and then we kept our connection ever since then. Even when he went to Central Michigan, all those things, and then we just kept in touch. And now he's here in the CFL doing big things, like I already knew he would. And it's just cool to sit on like the same team now because we never got a chance to do that in college. So now it's cool to be on the same team.
When you schemed against Ottawa last year, in
Mhm.
particular, Khalil Pimpleton, what did you have to worry about and try to take away from him?
Yeah, I don't want to give any clues away to the other defenses, but I will say Pimper can do everything. He's a guy who can take the deep ball and take the distance. He can take a screen for 80 yards. He can go back on punt return and go score. He can go score on a kickoff return. Like he can go do a lot of different things. He can really change the game in so many different ways. And I feel like there's not a lot of guys in the league that can do that. Some guys are just deep threats, some guys are just quick guys. He can do it all. And most guys who are as fast as he is don't run good routes, but he runs excellent routes. He has great pace in his routes. And I just feel like he's a real pro. He does the things the right way. He studies the game. He works out on his own time. He does all the right things. So I feel like it's going to show this year that he's one of the best players in the league.
When you play the Saskatchewan Roughriders for the first time, will you have some extra juice?
I'm gonna say no, but knowing myself, I'm definitely gonna have some extra juice. I already have juice anyway, but I feel like I'm gonna be a little extra. And they already know. I mean, we had our guys in practice, so those are my brothers over there. But I always told them if it gets to that point, I'm gonna have to do it to y'all. So it'll be fun, man. I can't wait to go back to more games. It'll be weird being there the visitor, the visitor. But it's just a blessing, bro. I'm still blessed to be able to do this thing. Man. I'm excited to go back to Rihanna and go on the show.
Have you had your day with the Grey Cup yet?
Um, I had my day. I had my day. I took it to some kids before I left Saskatchewan. Took it to a couple places to eat with. So yeah, I'm having my time with. It's time to go get a new one now.
Do you remember which places you took it to eat?
I took it to what was that spot? It was like Smoking Outlaws. Took it to Smoking Outlaws to go eat at there. I took it to Perry School. It's like a French American school out in South. So yeah, I took it to French American school too, and let the kids touch it and see it, and just show them like with hard work, it's all possible. I was a kid just like them, wishing for big dreams, and now here I am as an adult achieving these dreams, and it didn't come through just wishing, but hard work, faith, and patience.
What was it like to win the Grey Cup and then have your day with the trophy?
It felt crazy, man. I woke up in that morning and I had it in my couch, and I was just sitting there with my girlfriend. It just like I really had the cup with me at my apartment. Like it's crazy. Like I just like I wanted it so bad, man. I don't understand people understand like so many things have to go right to win a championship. And I feel like I wanted it so bad, and we all wanted it so bad. But like I really was dreaming about it every night since the offseason from last year. Since that losing that game and when it came last season or 2 years ago, I guess now. That hurt. That hurt. I knew how good we were. I knew how I wanted to not feel that ever again. So I feel like I'm glad I got to experience that.
You dreamed about winning the Grey Cup recently, CJ, but when did you first find out about the Canadian Football League?
Honestly, I knew that a little bit in high school, kind of, but not too much about it. I knew Chad Johnson went there for a little bit, obviously, Pokemon draw. But when they called me, I think in 2021 or 2022 is when I really like dove and did my research about it. And I figured out that it was just a game just like everything else. I was scared to play at first, obviously being in Canada and being far from home and not knowing the rules and all that. But once I got here, man, I fell in love with the game. I feel like it didn't take long. I was like 2 days in and I already was like smiling again and super excited. I just felt my love coming back for the game that I had once lost before. So I appreciate Canada, man. I'm forever indebted.
Does Canada feel closer now that you've been in all the big cities and played in the CFL for a
Definitely,
while?
definitely. But I mean, but besides BC and places like that, I mean, that's out far too on the west side. But besides BC, but I didn't realize actually how close Toronto and Ontario is to New York and Detroit. So now I'll be in Ontario, so I'm closer to home anyway.
And where do you spend your off season, CJ?
I spent them in Dallas, but I'm from Virginia, so a lot of my family can come to the games now. Not too far of a drive or a flight, so that's very exciting for me.
And when you're in Dallas in the off season, where are you training and are there any CFL guys around?
Normally I train with some guys, but this year, I'm doing my training dolo. I got my own program set up, so I'm just training on my own right now. I feel like I'm back to my Kobe grind. Just me and myself in the gym. That's it.
And what do you think it's going to take for you to go to a new team and perhaps have a turnaround season and get to the Grey Cup? And I asked it
Hmm.
because we've seen it before. It wasn't too long ago in 2023, the Montreal Alouettes, a lot of people left them for dead, thought they didn't have a chance. The Redblacks, the worst team in the Canadian Football League in 2025. You were obviously on the best team. So how do
Hmm.
you think that turnaround can happen in Ottawa?
I think it's just belief, man. I think if we all believe on one goal and we all like it's all just come to belief and work. It's not really a secret recipe. It's just about belief and work and loving each other. I think that's a big thing. When you love your teammates and you love who you're playing with, it makes a difference. If you play harder, you play more intelligently, you play more intentionally. When you play with guys who you actually care about. So I think it's just getting everybody to a new group of guys to play together. And love each other. Uh, Unconditionally. And if we can do that, I think we'll be fine. Like the talent's there, the coaching is there. We gotta do our part as players to love each other and make plays.
When you went against Drew Brown while with Saskatchewan, whether he was in Winnipeg or Ottawa, did you think that this guy was a franchise caliber quarterback and the type of QB that could lead a team to a championship?
Of course, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a gunslinger, man. He can throw it. He can sling it around. He's talented. And it's like he has all the intangibles. Like I said, all we got now. We need got RD, who's a QB whisperer. As we all know, and them two together, I know it's just gonna be magic. Drew got guys to throw to. All we gotta do is just protect Drew and keep him healthy, and we'll be just fine.
You played strong side linebacker against Greg Bell, who Ottawa made the highest paid American running back in the league. What's it
Hmm.
like to try to defend him considering how many balls he catches out of the backfield?
Right, man. He's a great back. He can do it all back. A lot of backs in this league. They don't have that getaway, that like long speed. Maybe him and Rankin, but I feel like he has one of those things where you can take a sweep or a toss to the crib. A lot of guys can't do that, but he has the speed, he has the vision, and I think he's gonna help us a lot for sure. In the East is not known for its physicality. I guess people would say, but I think we're gonna come in and be as physical as possible and run the ball down people's throats and stop the run as well.
When you look at Ottawa's receiving core, I think there's at least an argument there that it could be the best in the league. It's definitely among the best. You're talking about Eugene Lewis, Justin Hardy, CFL all star caliber guys. They add
Yeah.
Aiden Eberhardt, the deep threat in free agency. We've talked about Pimpleton and
Hmm.
his skill set. Keelan White, a young, rising Canadian. Nick Mardner has flashed as well. There's some other pieces there, but when you just look at the starters,
Yeah.
CJ, as a defensive player who's played at a high level in this league for a number of years, is that the best receiving group in the league?
If it's not the best, it's one of the best. We got to go out there and prove it, obviously, every day. But honestly, I feel like we have the talent to be the best receiving group in the league. Like I said, we got Gino, we got who's a CFL legend, we got Hardy, CFL legend, we got Pimp, young legend, we got Keelan White, Nick, we got all these guys. Andy Isabella coming from the league, coming here with speed. We got a bunch of guys. I feel like that can go and get their own place. Aiden Eberhardt, like I said, from BC, he's a big play guy as well. So I feel like we got all the pieces, to go do what we want to do. And I'm excited to go against you guys in practice because really it's one in practice. I feel like our hardest competition days is in practice. So if we can just uh, replicate that game, like in energy and practice, then we'll be winning games and it'll be easy for us at that point.
There's some people that I've talked to around the league, CJ, that now look at the Red Blacks linebacking group and say that it could be among the best in the Canadian Football League. Obviously, you have you at strong side linebacker, Niles Morgan as a baller at middle linebacker, and AJ Allen,
Mm-hmm.
who, I mean, he would definitely argue he played at a CFL All Star level
I would
last
too,
year.
definitely.
Is there anybody else that you think is in that conversation with your linebacking group in Ottawa?
Nah, nah, I don't.
And why do you think that you guys are just a cut above the rest in terms of the linebacking group?
Well, I think I'm the best in the game. Well, I don't think I know I'm the best in the game at what I do. Now he's the best run stopper in the game and what he does. AJ is the most versatile linebacker in the game as well. So I feel like we can't do no wrong. I feel like we stop the run, we play the pass, we cover, we give our drops, we tackle, and we make plays. I feel like you gotta have playmakers and linebackers and guys who are smart. And we have that. AJ is a smart guy. No, I'm a smart guy. I'm a smart guy. So I feel like with all of our intelligence and our playmaking abilities, it's gonna be fun this year.
You mentioned earlier, CJ, that Corey Mace's defensive scheme and William Fields' defensive scheme are similar. Can you provide
Hmm.
a little bit more detail into that?
Well, yeah, I think the terminology is a little bit kind of the same as well. They both started in Toronto together, so I feel like they kind of built that defense together almost. But just how they use the Sam. They blitz a lot. They move around the Sam a lot. I'll be able to play a little bit more than just Sam. I'll move around and play with more positions, like that. And just the freedom. I think that's the biggest thing. I think the freedom not really being so idle on where I line up, but I get my job done. That's all it's all about. I feel like that's the biggest thing in the CFL because it's only a couple teams, right? So we play each other all the time. We know what people are doing. They're the same kind of schemes in the CFL, defensively, schematically, and offensively, schematically. So I feel like being able to move around and show different disguises with playing the same coverages is a big thing in the CFL to be able to get the advantage of offenses. So my freedom in the defense will allow us to do that, and just make plays. It's not about where you line up, but about where you end up.
There was a lot of people as the NFL playoffs went along and the Seahawks won the Super Bowl that were raving about Nicky Manwari, who plays on
Hmm.
defense for the Seahawks. And CJ, I want to ask you this question because there's probably no better guy to ask in the CFL. I couldn't help but think that the way they're talking about his versatility, that's the strong side linebacker position in the CFL. But they're raving about it like it's some new found, you know,
No,
position. But it's been
right.
played that way for years in the Canadian
Right,
Football League, and especially by the good ones. It seems like you would agree.
100%. It's crazy. I feel like down south in the NFL, they like I said, they're not hyper because they just got our amazing players, but they're giving these guys the one note they're not even had because they're playing defense. They're blitzing off the edge. They're playing man to man on receiver. They're playing deep, and deep thirds. And a lot of guys can't do that. That's a skill set. That should be something to look at as a skill set. And I feel like in the CFL, the stand linebacker doesn't get enough love. I feel like we got to be a linebacker. We got to be able to get off blocks and fit in the A gap to B gap to C gap, D gap. I got to cover receivers. I got to play deep coverage, deep third, deep halves, and play man to man. So I feel like there's no other person on the field that does all those things besides the same linebacker. And I feel like the same linebacker should get more of his love than just oh, we can just get anybody to play there at Sam. It's like a little ratio or like okay, we'll just put a guy there who kind of care what he does. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, I feel like Sam is the most important position on the defense, if not the D line. I feel like D line probably most important, but then behind that is Sam. I feel like you actually do so many different things. If you don't have a good Sam in the league, then you're not gonna have a good defense.
I just couldn't help but think watching Eman Worry and then people praising him and be like, that's the strong side linebacker position in the Canadian Football League. It's been
Exactly,
played that way for,
exactly.
not over 100 years necessarily that exact same
Yeah,
way, but guys are doing it all the time. So
yeah,
I'm happy that
exactly.
you confirmed it.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah, but it's crazy that the CFL doesn't get more love, man, because it's like it's so hard to play that game, man. Like it's like basketball on grass. It's such a bigger field. I feel like to play DB in the CFL, even if it's corner or halfback, it's so much harder than I feel like the NFL because there's so much more grass. Man. It's so much more grass.
How do you deal with that from your defensive back or strong side linebacker position, the open space in the grass that you
Yeah.
have to defend?
I think it's all about angles and it's about the dimensions. I've learned the field is bigger, but if I can cut the field off at the hash where I stand at and stand my ground and just make it a third of the field instead of a whole extra half of a field, that's where the plays are made at. I feel like setting the edge at the old hash, not but at the old hash is where it's like close to the line of scrimmage. I feel like that, and just knowing angles and knowing the schemes. I feel like a lot of teams they like to cut the Sam out of the run game, but we know how teams are going to attack you. You can counter attack that as well. So I think just going in the CFL game and learning the defenses and learning the rules and learning how the game is actually played from back in the day. Not much has changed from the CFL game, honestly, to be honest. The same plays are being ran that they ran in 2014. The same defenses are being ran that they ran in 2015. So I feel like as long as you go back and watch and study the game, you'll be able to get some keys. So I've been going back and doing that for a while now. So I think that's helped me a lot.
CJ, man, this has been very enlightening. I appreciate the time and just want to give you a
Thank
chance.
you.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to get in before we say goodbye to everybody?
No, man. I just want to say thank you, Sass, for the last 4 years. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Coach Mace. Thank you, Coach Bell, my dogs, my teammates. I just love you guys, but I'm ready to go to this new chapter in Ottawa, and I'm excited to go win this cup for the Capitals.